Casting. Now we're live. So we'll give it a minute here before anybody comes in. One of the things that Barry does is he goes to, I think it's briefing.com, and looks up upgrades and downgrades there. Um, I can't argue with anything he does because Barry's probably one of the best day traders I've ever seen. He doesn't really swing trade much at all, but
Nice.
his day trading, and he's not one of those, again, I always kind of tease about this, but you see through social media all these people, I'm driving the Lambo and all that. He's
Right.
not one of those people at all. He's very, very realistic about things, um, risk management, all that kind of stuff like that. So I can't, like I said, I personally almost never look at the pre-market. I kind of just let my races for my day trading dictate, something's just won 3 races. Let me set a price alert and kind of watch it from there.
Yeah.
And, make a decision. How does this or not work into what I'm trying to do? So we could see some people are starting to filter in, a couple of people. So anybody coming in, folks, we've got Chris Varley taking over for the pre-market for a few moments from Barry. Normally Barry has us open at 9:00 in the morning. But we have a very special friend and new partner here with Trade Ideas. We got Michael Katz from Trade the Pool.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And, we just wanted to, get together here this morning, discuss a little bit of what the new relationship that Trade the Pool and Trade Ideas has together, as well as a little bit of pre-market action here, and, bringing in folks that are from the Trade Ideas family already, you folks that are normally watching on our side, and folks that have been with Trade the Pool, and kind of bring us all together and grow our communities a bit here.
Yeah, thanks so much, Chris.
Yeah. We're super excited. Michael, if you wanted to maybe start to go into who you are and Trade the Pool is, and then we'll jump over into a little pre-market action here and different things that we can and can't do with the software here of Trade Ideas.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Chris. So my name is Michael. I'm the CEO of Trade the Pool. We are basically an online prop firm dedicated to stock traders. So basically, you can go through a process of evaluation phase with us, and if you pass the evaluation, you will be funded and start trading on our capital, and of course we will split the profit and we will take the losses. So to put it simple. So for me as a day trader, Chris, I've been doing it for 15 years, and for me it's a no-brainer because finally you don't need to have this $25,000 bare minimum to start trading and risking your own capital and a lot of other stuff that most traders deal with and usually fail because of that. So
yeah, I so my own experience and background is I've only been trading for a little over 5 years, and realistically, I got my butt kicked for about 2 years, and I was one of those undercapitalized people. Fortunately, enough stick-to-itness and a few good breaks for me lead me to have success without ever actually finding a prop firm or getting capitalized by them. But I think back to it, especially, let's say after the first 13, 14, 15 months, when I started to actually understand risk management, that set of time afterwards, being undercapitalized started to really hold me back. So, there's not actually a lot of prop firms out there that do stocks. Almost all of them are basically Forex at this point. So having, being able to come into contact with you folks has really given us something to offer everybody that's out there trying to learn and trade stocks, taking a realistic approach to it. And, for many people, I think, just even starting out where you have your day jobs that maybe it's a mix of days and nights, but being able to trade a little more freely with a service like you folks offer, it gives you twofold. One, obviously the capital, but two, an evaluation phase makes you have to take it more seriously.
Yeah.
That it's not just, oh, gee, I'm going to be a day trader. Let me just start throwing anything at the wall. You actually,
Exactly.
If you want to pass this evaluation phase, you have to come with some risk management and some, serious planning ahead of time like that. So.
Yeah, this is why I love it so much, because we see traders guys that been trading for 10 years and guys that been doing it for 6 months. And at the end, it's basically the parameters that we have, the strict rules that gives them the edge, to reach the goal and get funded. Yeah.
Exactly. So we'll jump right into a little pre-market stuff, and I want to show a little bit of how when I'm looking at the pre-market, things that I do and other options that are there through the Trade Ideas software, and then maybe pass it over to you, Michael, so you can go over some of the things that you do in the pre-market, your preparation, things like that. So just a few simple things that I like to showcase here, and actually I have a drawing tool. We're just going to break out real quick. Keep things fairly simple here with my charts. Let's get some pre-market data on our charts here. And I go back and forth whether I like to have pre-market data or no pre-market data. And on our charts here within Trade Ideas, and of course, if you have charts that you want to use elsewhere, you could always link into those externally from your broker or other sources. But we could see that, this tan area here is going to be our pre-market. I've got the IBB up currently. And one of the things I like to do in the pre-market is take a tour around the overall market, the different indexes and indices and sectors, and what are those doing. Now, I have a list here that is created, a called sector analysis, and you're going to have things like natural gas and cloud computing. XRT is going to be your retail. TAN is your solars. KWEB is your Chinese internet. SOXX, your semiconductors, along with the SMH. I like to have a look at both of those. They're both very liquid. We can go through the list, so on and so forth. This list is available to anybody with Trade Ideas. And what I've done here is I've created a top list. If we were to right click here, and while I know I go over a lot of this fast, anybody could always give us an email at info@trade-ideas.com for a tutorial over how I've actually done this. But what we have here is a top list. It's a completely blank top list, and all it does is sort on things that are up the most from the prior day's close. But aside from being blank as far as filters go, I have set this up to look at a symbols list that is only going to be these ETFs. And I've named it such as Sector Analysis User Guide right here. And we put a check mark in there. And so we can see that it's only going to look at those. So it's a very focused, narrow snapshot view. The second item that I have here, and again, people could email in for this here, and I'm happy to share it with them. In fact, I could share it into our chat right now. And this is a pre-market high versus pre-market low. And then it's accompanied, I'm going to share, and we're going to bring this cloud link here, and I'm going to copy that. I'm going to drop that into the chat there. So anybody with Trade Ideas can take that link and load it from the cloud and put that into their pre-market plans if they like. So the two windows that I have here, and the first one I'll go over is what we call pre-market highs versus pre-market lows that I just marked with that pink X. And if we come into it, it's what we call a compare count window. And in this configure, we have our green data, that's this line, and our red data, that's this line. These are two exponential moving averages that are showing over a short period of time here, the new highs in the pre-market versus the new lows. We can come into the configure and we can see that the selected alert is going to be pre-market, and that's pre-market highs for the green data. And we're looking at stocks between $1 and $250, and they have to have traded at least 10,000 shares on the day. What I'm trying to do is eliminate things that have had, one lot that traded out, 2,000, 3,000, 500 shares, things like that, that are those head fakes that happen in the morning. Those aren't really influencing what the indexes are going to be doing, what the SPY or the S&P are doing in the futures or anything like that. And at the same time, I don't want to cut out things that may be just getting started as well, where now we've reached 10,000 shares and we might start getting moving at that point. So that's our green data. That's doing that. And then the red data, just the exact flip side of it here in the selected alerts, pre-market lows. So every time something makes a pre-market low, and again, it's in between $1 and $250 and traded at least 10,000 shares in the pre-market, it's going to continue to be counted in that. And we can see a list of tickers at the bottom here coming through. And, these are the last tickers to alert on those items here. So we can see CVKD, obviously it's going to be a pre-market active, and we can see that move that it's just made here. The second part of this window, because it's a docked window with two windows together, is another simple top list here. It is looking at pre-market volume done as a percent today. We've done this on a 10-day average. So Let's say that a stock, its normal average, we're going to put it at 100, obviously. 200 is 2 times, 300 is 3 times, so on and so forth. Well, let's say that we have a stock that has done 15% of its normal total day volume by 6:30 in the morning Eastern time, or 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. Now, while 15% doesn't sound like a large amount, think about that as 100 total to complete the entire day. So you now have a stock that in the pre-market has done even 5 or 10 or 15% of its normal volume on an average day before the market is even open. That's significant. And so what I've done with this top list is, again, in the configure, very simple here, window specific filters. We're looking at stocks that are at least $1. They've traded at least 5,000 shares today, and I'm sorting them on this volume percent today, and then just had them ordered as such. So for example, TCRX, this thing is done 7 times, or 70 times, yes, because it's 7,000, not 700, excuse me, on the decimal point there, that normal volume. And we can see here in our single stock window, thing is done 1.9 million shares today. Now, relative volume does not work for us in the pre-market. It's always going to default to a 1 in the pre-market. That's why we had the volume percent today. We want to be able to give people a snapshot of something abnormal just with market hours or abnormal all the time. So the relative volume was the one that we decided as a ratio would be for the regular market time, and the volume percent today would be for all market times. And so that is the way that we've done that, just so nobody ever gets confused between the two of those. And we can see we've got, a wild set of candles here in the pre-market for TCRX. Take a look here. We just scroll down a few of these. And again, we can see JFBR, big gap up into the early pre-market, been fading since. But again, 1.1 mil shares traded here in the pre-market. That's a huge deal. We'll take a look at another 1 or 2 of these here, and then maybe I'll pass it over to you, Michael. Go over a few things I'd like to go over here in the pre-market. So PLRX, again, we're looking at something that's now done, to this point. And these numbers, what I want to also point out with this here is these numbers can never go down, where during the market hours, relative volume can drop actually as the day goes on if the stock continues to trade less or slows down its volume, where this number never goes down. This stock has done this much volume today as a percent compared to normal. That'll never go down. It'll only go up. So again, PLRX has already done 4.5 times what it normally does over a 10-day average. So these are the helpful tools that I would use in the pre-market. I have one other that I'll save on a pass back afterwards, but I'll turn it over to you, Michael, for a moment here. Go over some things that you're looking at and you're doing in the pre-market.
That's cool. Great. Thanks, Chris. I love the pre-market tool. That's a really good one to work with. So I will share my screen. Yeah.
Absolutely. Get right to it.
All righty. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention the deal that we are having together for those of you guys that are not familiar with Trade a Pool. We are basically offering, for those of you who will sign up for our program or the evaluation phase, you will get trade ideas for absolutely free. So definitely check it out. Okay, so what I'm doing when I'm starting my day, what I will do is just at the beginning go through the NQ and the ES. The NQ is the NASDAQ 100, the E-mini future, and the ES is the S&P 500, the E-mini as well. And what I'm doing is basically getting the feeling of what I'm supposed to see in any given day. Now, of course, as day traders, we will switch from long to short, and the market can go have a great positive day, but I will short other stocks and those kind of things, and it will reverse during the day. But at the end, I want to just have a good feeling of what to expect. I don't want to have a bias in specific, but just have like an overview look at the market. So I'm looking at the NQ on an hourly chart, and as you can see, the Nasdaq is moving a little bit higher at the moment, like 0.2%, reaching again those major resistance levels that basically pushed him down a week ago. So hopefully it's not too much with all those lines, right? But this is a major resistance level coming from way back from November. So already 2 months. So I guess we will test it again and reach those numbers of 11,800. I don't know if it will be today or tomorrow or the next week, but it makes sense that we will try to test them. And when we'll do that, potentially and hopefully, we will see another drop like we did when we first reached that level last week. So that could be a great place to start looking for a short if you're swing trading. But also, as a day trader, I will definitely look to short the Nasdaq, the QQQ, the ETF, or big names like Tesla, Apple, those kind of things that usually will move with the market. So this is what I'm looking for right now, reaching maybe a deeper point of the resistance level and then look for the downside. If you are working with the MACD, the MACD, then you're probably familiar with also deviation, divergence, right? So what I can expect to see, and again, this is an hourly chart, so it won't be probably in the next hour, but generally speaking, maybe for the next few days or even 2 weeks. So if we'll drop down from this area and bounce up again to retest those highs, what we should expect to see with the MACD is again another drop, but then instead of reaching and breaking through the previous high, what we should see is a lower high basically. So the price will create a higher highs, and the MACD should create, in case we will see a diversion, it will create a lower high, and that should indicate combining this resistance level and probably high volume that will come in, those kind of things will show us that the price should start dropping down again. So this is what I usually do when I start my week and start my day, just creating scenarios, drawing on the charts, stuff that I don't know if the right word is feel, but stuff that I'm familiar with, at least from the past, and according to the price action, can see that it probably will occur.
Well, as they say, the past doesn't always repeat, but it often rhymes. So that's exactly. And this is the kind of things where I'm talking about being realistic traders and realistic approaches. This is the homework. This is the getting in the trenches part that I think a lot of people that are trying to bust into the trading world don't understand goes on. That this is the stuff you do to prepare for the trades later.
Exactly. Yeah. And as soon as you do that, and you have this routine that every day you come and do that, you can actually draw on the chart, and in time you will see that in most cases you were right, even if you didn't trade it, and then you will be able to trade it more freely because you will have the confidence that you know what you're doing. That's something that really helped me back like few years back, because I didn't have the confidence that what I'm doing is the right thing to do. But as soon as I started to draw stuff on the chart, I saw that in most of my scenarios I was right. So it was easier to take a leap and basically trade the plan. So this is something I do. Other than that, when looking maybe in the bigger picture, the market looks pretty good to the upside. By the way, I'm short on the QQQ so I'm getting my ass kicked for now. But it looks pretty good to bounce up at least to those levels, breaking through the 11,800 and then reaching the 12,000. Looks pretty good to go there. Hopefully we won't see that, but it makes sense that we will. So this is like a daily chart. So if you're planning to swing trade and stuff like that, maybe you can take advantage of that. The S&P looks pretty much the same. So maybe a little bit less stronger than the NQ, but makes sense that we will see the same reaction, maybe a small drop to take those levels and then bounce up to reach those resistance level at around 4020, 4040. And from there, we will see another drop. So, and this is why you want to be a day trader, especially in this time, because, the market is so volatile, then it will play, bounce to the level, drop again. You can buy it at support, you can sell it at resistance. So really, it's a good playground for us as day trader. One more thing you can add to that is look at the VIX, the volatility index. That will help you. I don't know if I have the lines. Yeah. Okay. So that will help you understand again what should be the reaction of the S&P when we reach in resistance or support level. Because as you guys probably are aware, when the SPY, the S&P goes up, the VIX goes down, and the opposite. So you can use that tool, the VX, in order to understand if that's a good resistance level or support level that you see on the S&P. Most of the time, it will correlate. So you will see the VIX holding a major support level while the S&P reaching a major resistance level. And that will give you another indication that the price should turn and stuff like that. So that's like a quick overview of what I usually do. Other than that, I just go to the scanners basically. So either trade ideas scanners, those things that Chris showed are amazing. I have here my Thinkorswim scanner, but it's basically looking at pre-market movers. So let's take, for example, the one that you showed, Chris, CVKD, right? The first thing I want to see is why the stock is moving. So I go to the news. I want to see what is the catalyst behind it. So as you can see, it's regarding FDA fast track. So we understand that a lot of folks are looking at that particular stock. You can see the volume coming in at pre-market. Already made $5 move on a $4 stock. That's more than 100%. And it's also like in the 20s. So it's a brand new company as well, a brand new stock, IPO, and we already broke through previous high, right? That was at 675. So that could be a perfect support level at around the 650, 675. And if the price will, hold the support, we can look for the upside on that stock. FDA approved usually, or at least FDA news usually will push the stock, and it could easily do like 200 and 300% a day easily. Right.
Well, we know with that kind of news and that kind of volume that's already happened in the pre-market, we know it's going to be active for the day. There'll be people that believe that it should be active to the short side. There'll be people that believe that it would be active to the long side. There'll probably be at some point a play for both of those throughout the day. And, like anything else, you have your plan formulated going into it. You have your, whatever your, we'll call it your lines or your resistances or your technical analysis lined up, that if then scenarios, and you just play them, you play that move from there.
Yeah. So in this case specifically, because we don't have a lot of data, a lot of history, we can't really plan along beside the 650, 675, in my opinion. But maybe pushing all the way to the fives will give her a little bit more buying entries. Like buyers will come in at around 5 if we will break the 650, 675. So the first thing to look at is the 675, the previous high or all-time high before that. And then if we will break all the way to the fives, then we can start looking to buy the dip on that. And let me see if I have a few others. Tesla is always good friends of mine. I like to keep it on the chart. It doesn't matter really the news that coming in. Tesla is always on the news. A big company, so a lot of people like to trade it. And you can see that's actually a great example on a 1 minute chart. I'm looking with the pre-market. Look at the green bar here, the green line. That's the 200 EMA that I usually work with, and you can see it played perfectly on on Friday, also Thursday, pre-market, aftermarket. Most of the time, it held it perfectly, right? Also in today's pre-market. So this is a great scenario you can actually start building. We made that strong move from the bottom, from 120, 24, 25, all the way to 136. So that's a strong move. We should expect a down move because we had those 2 days, long 2 days, including pre-market, aftermarket, that pushing the price higher. So what I would expect to see is breaking this 200 EMA that held perfectly this time and retesting it, and only then try to short the stock. So if we'll do something like that, I would definitely look for a downside in Tesla. And again, it's day trading, so I can take it for 20, 30 minutes trade to the downside, and then it will reach those pre-market support levels or aftermarket of Friday, and then we will turn and buy the dip, right? So my first scenario will be this one, breaking the 200 EMA, retesting it, continue to the downside.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
I see also PLRX. That's a strong stock for today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you probably see it as well.
Yep, it's approaching. It's approaching having done 5 times its normal volume, 5 times its average 10-day volume here in the pre-market right now. Just short of that, with 2.5 million shares traded.
So you see, again, that's a pharmaceutical company. So the news coming from there, right? A trial. So it's also a good thing to notice and to keep in mind. You should, if you guys want, we can do that maybe in the future. Just create a list of the news, the potential news that can move the market, that can move the stock strong or less. So basically, FDA approved will push the stock pretty strongly, but some general news usually will be less effective than than a lawsuit, right, or a fail with the FDA, or acquisition or anything like that. So there are upgrades, downgrades. Upgrades coming from Goldman Sachs will be much more effective and stronger than upgrades coming from, I don't know, third and fourth bank in the US.
And I'd say one thing. So I find myself with a lot of traders that love the news, and a lot of traders like myself that actually never read the news. But what we can all agree on is that there'll always be volume with that. And so oftentimes people ask me why I don't look at the news, and I say, well, the volume is all the news that I need to know. And from there, I can look at the chart. Now that's more for my day trading. When I'm getting into something like swing trading, I want to know a little bit more about the company, especially I'm looking to hold it for 3 and 4 and 5 days. If it made a move on news, is that news that's sustainable, that's going to continue to benefit the stock price? And there's no way to ever truly know, but we want to try to glean some of that, at least the best that we can, when we're putting on those longer term positions. So it's always interesting to see those different takes with those that really follow the news, those that kind of follow the news, and those that never even look at the news. But either way, when the volume's there, the news is there.
Yeah, exactly. So the reason I like to see the news is because I saw in the past really that some news will give it more, even not just at the beginning of the day, but also in the middle or at the end, and those kind of things. Yeah,
Absolutely.
when
One thing I'll always throw out there with news, big price moves, and pharmaceuticals is to watch for offerings.
yeah,
I can't tell you how many times I've seen. So I've got a chart back up here, and we can see here on my daily chart that this is where the gap up on PLRX is going to come. And this gap up on PLRX, you can also see it go the opposite way with any kind of bios and pharmas go that way. But the other thing that people forget is, especially these newer companies that have to raise capital and they need funding, when they see a huge move in stock price, especially for newer companies or companies like this that have been suffering for a long time, very often the next day or the second or the third day, you'll see them come out with a stock offering that will crash that price as well. So, these are just the little things that I always try to share with folks that might be newer to this kind of trading or these kinds of news items, as I've learned the lessons the hard way. And I think it's best for people to not learn those lessons the hard way, like I have, to wake up and find yourself with a 50% haircut on a position that you prior were up, let's say 5 or 6 or 7% or something, and you went from 5 or 6 or 7% up to 50% down. It's very, very uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah, I gotta tell you that a lot of our traders really like to trade penny stocks, right? And those pharma are usually penny stocks. So, and the great thing about it, they can actually short it. So it's usually hard to borrow those kind of stocks to short them, but we actually have all those stocks, 12,000 symbols, and you can short anything that you like. So I see a lot of activities like that, as you mentioned. Guys are actually looking for the downside in those stocks. So
I see Jason Taylor just asked, typed out a quick answer, but Jason Taylor asked, hello. So you're saying the news, after the news, the company would then come out with an offering. It's not always, Jason. So a company like PLRX right now, their stock price looks like it's been pretty healthy overall. They see, the company's been around for a bit. While they're obviously off highs from way back here, they don't look like they're a company that's, suffering quite as bad. And that, you'd have to dig more into the fundamentals of the company, cash debt ratio, things of that nature. But I'd say a stock like this, more unlikely to make an offering, not that it's not possible, versus a company that, I think what was this? Where was it? Let's try to find that. So it says CVKD here. They come out, they IPO right away, and then all of a sudden they see a huge spike on their prices right away. It would be less uncommon for them to make an offering in the coming days that, they IPO'd and open here at, let's say, 575, give or take. Looks like 571 on the open here. Let's say that 4 or 5 days from now, they're sitting at $15 still, and they could use some cash. You would more likely see them make an offering like that. So, Michael, you mentioning penny stock traders. And so a few things I wanted to get into here before we part ways, as everybody starts to get ready for the live open here, is we have what we call channel bars, both free floating channels, which means free floating charts and scans, and docked. I do like the docked looked a little bit better. I want to open that up. And so a couple of things that I want to throw out here is that we have, first I want to hit the pre-market here. And we can see here something similar to the things that I've done here in my own pre-market setup that I'd shown before. We've got our races in here, and essentially the races are taking stocks that are interesting based on the metrics that we put into the scan and showing how they're moving live. On the top part here, these are how they're moving live to the upside. Down here, how they're moving to the downside. We've got, as we labeled them, down gappers and up gappers. I won't go too far into the races currently. Those that are already Trade Idea subscribers, I think, have a fairly good idea of how the races work. For those that might be joining us from the Traded Pool side, or that are just kind of stumbled into this or have come across a recording that will be placed shortly after this ends. The races are a great way to look at things that are moving live and fast and constantly moving. Where we have alert windows, that's going to be a time-stamped alert that says, bang, the stock did this at this time. As time goes on, the stock might not meet the exact criteria of the alert window to get alerted again, but the stock could still technically be on the move. Well, that's where these would come in, these races, constantly keeping it in your focus while it's moving. So this is something that's pre-built that people dive right into. You do not need to have any experience with the software just to get using it right away like that. Of course, over time, you're going to want to do your own work on these, customize them into what you like. Then I wanted to jump into another channel as we talked about sectors earlier. Bring over the channel bar again here. We have what we call a sector analysis channel here. And so as Michael was going over things that he was looking at before about the NQ and the ES and things of that nature, we could do very similar things here with ETFs, your XLF or your XLI, XLE, XRT. These are all major sector players here, and a breakdown of stocks that are within those. And to see, well, the sector looks like it's up, but is anything in the sector actually moving? So another way for us to break things down, to do more homework in the pre-market here. And then I want to jump on the penny movers here. I am not a penny stock trader. I have no affinity for them. I'll trade anything if, and people have different definitions of penny stocks. Some people under $5, under $4, under $3, under $2, so on and so forth. People could, debate those kinds of things ad nauseum. However, on our free floating channel bar, it offers a few more channels than the docked one does, just because of different formatting and layout purposes. But if we scroll down here and hit the show more, we will have our penny movers here. And if I go ahead and click that, let's just bring that up for us here. Oops, excuse me, loaded that into another window. Give me one moment. Let's load that here. And layouts. Relative to main, save. Let's bring that back over and let's click penny movers again. And now we have that loaded over here. And so again, we've pre-done scans. So for those of you that are from our trade pool friends here and you want to just get right into it while you're still learning, just go ahead and click on these channels. And, I think anybody that has a general handle of trading and let's call it market speak, the channels speak for themselves more or less. What we're looking at here, swing picks, I think we have an obvious idea. Trader's Eye, these are things that actually a few of us traders here at Trade Ideas we're looking at, usually more long-term kind of looks in that, obviously pre-market and after hours. We have, our trading room, Barry creates a watch list regularly. Again, another look at ETFs here, EV related stocks, so on and so forth. So a lot of themes, a lot of things for you folks to look at as you go through. Some things are going to work in the pre-market. Some things are not going to work in the pre-market. As different people looking at different things in different time frames. I thought there was one other thing I was going to cover, but it seems to have slipped my mind here. But we've gone over a lot here with what we do at Trade Ideas. Some of the things you're doing here, Michael. So again, I wanted to dive back into what we're doing here. For those of you that are, coming into trading, you find yourself underfunded. Again, Michael Katz is CEO of Trade the Pool, and Trade the Pool is a prop firm for stock traders. You can join with them. They have an evaluation period. If and when you pass that evaluation period, you become a funded trader with Trade the Pool. It's a shared profit with them. They bolster the losses, but it's not just something you run right into and say, "Hey, give me money." We've got to be, again, with things realistic in life. So this is something that you're going to want to approach with utter seriousness, a real trading plan. And Trade the Pool is offering you tools like Trade Ideas here that they will, if you are a funded trader and you are a profitable trader, they're going to pay for these tools for you so that it's less for you to burden as a trader as you make your way here.
Yeah.
Michael, if you wanted to go a little more into anything with Trade the Pool here for us.
Yeah, I'll put the link also in the chat. But again, for those of you who sign in to Trade a Pool, you will actually get trade ideas for free for that period of time. Because in the end, we want our trader to succeed. So we are always looking to improve the way you trade and give you another edge in the market. So trade ideas obviously is a great tool, amazing tool that I used it for many years. So definitely check it out. And I guess if we have, Chris, do we have time for one more stock?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so maybe let's look at the W wafer. Because I can see, not a lot of volume, like 800,000, but already up $5.
Here. Let me get some bigger charts for us here. Now let's bring those up. Let's get Wayfair on there. Let's get us some pre-market here. Look at that. What a move, huh?
Yeah. So my only concern is that the volume is not huge. It's just
right.
in a million. But I'm looking at the news here, and Bank of America just upgraded, and also JP Morgan double upgrades. So the numbers are pretty good, and they all seems to have a target around the $65. So we're looking at another $13 up. It's important to understand that when we have those news, we need to correlate them with the chart, right? Because sometimes they will manipulate the price. They will put the news at the end of the trend, and not just beginning of the trend. So they will try to lower people in, so they will sell their price. They can get rid of their shares, and basically you will be the one, like the dumb money, as we call it.
The bag holders.
Yeah, exactly.
So I look at this. Yes, it's a quite the sizable move here. We're looking at 11.5% nearly in the pre-market. Yeah. But like you said, that volume is a little suspect at only 847,000 shares, give or take. This is one of those ones that absolutely could go either way. Have we started a bottoming process here? Possibly. Or are we just looking at more pain here, as there's obviously room to move down still. So, but certainly interesting. And if nothing else, like everything else, it's a trade idea. What side is that idea? That's up to the trader, of course. I was looking, I wanted to post a link here for us, but for Trade the Pool, if you have there, Michael.
Yeah, let me share it with you. So do I put it in the?
Yeah, absolutely, in the chat. I've got it. If not,
okay, send it. Yeah,
perfect. So, like I mentioned before, we mentioned kind of at the beginning of this here, and for those that might have been late joiners, you could go back later in the day and on our Trade Ideas YouTube channel here, play from the beginning. Michael and I started here at about 8:30 Eastern this morning. Again, Michael Katz is our CEO of Trade the Pool. We have a new relationship, Trade Ideas and Trade the Pool, for you folks that are underfunded traders. Please, check out Trade the Pool. There's very few prop firms that exist, if I think almost any other ones that exist for stocks. Most prop firms are going to be Forex mainly, maybe a few futures ones out there, but there's very few when it comes to stocks. And so, Trade the Pool is out here making quite an offer for everybody and anybody out there between their funding and the tools that they will support you with.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And again, we can definitely see a change when you're trading by yourself, home alone, with your capital, comparing to our traders that come in. And again, some of them are trading for 10 years, some of them trading for 6 months, and you see a change. You see that they acting differently than what they did before. They tell us that, and we can see, the data. Mm-hmm. When you have certain rules and you have someone that just on top of you, and that you can't cross those rules. And when you have enough capital to trade freely, you see a different way of trading.
Without a question, for lack of a better term, it takes the handcuffs off a lot of the things that hold us back.
Yeah.
So, all right, Michael, I guess we'll wrap it up there for the day. And you're when you're ready to sign out, I'm going to keep this open and pass it to our trading room moderator, Barry.
Yeah.
And I think we should do this again in the very near future.
Definitely, would love to. Thanks so much.
When you're ready to close, Michael, you just close the browser, and you'll be out, and then we'll talk very shortly, you and I.
All righty.
All right. Thank you again, Michael. Appreciate you coming in here for us.
Thanks,
Take
Chris.
care. Bye. You're welcome. My pleasure. So, all right, folks. Hopefully you all got a little bit out of that. I know it's a little different than for those of you that are normally here with Barry. I'm gonna, message Barry to bring him in here. He perhaps is already listening already. And there we go. Just messaged over to Barry. And so, Jason, I saw you saw a basket of high beta stocks. Barry will be in here any moment. But real quick, we have a beta here, a beta filter that you could use. So if I just open a new alert window real quick here, you come into the search. And I can just type it wrong. There we go. There it is. So here's that, and you can click help, and that'll give you what this filter is actually doing here. And it's a way to help you filter and look for high beta stocks, essentially. Sorry, just a little back and forth with Barry. Or just a little back and forth Barry here. I'm wondering if he started a new stream. All right. Still just trying to get Barry over this way. You've got actually Chris Varley for a moment here. I was doing some pre-market cross promotion with a new partner we have, Trade the Pool here. Barry should be taking this over any minute, unless he wants to start a fresh stream. Move myself like that. It's better looking. All right. So I think just in case, because I'm going to shut down the stream here, I'm going to have you folks head over. All right, so folks, head over to here if you want to be with Barry. I'll leave the stream open for another moment, but head over to that link that I just sent you right there. That will bring you into Barry. Like I said, I'll leave this open for another moment. I thank you all very kindly for coming and hanging out with us for the pre-market here with Michael Katz from Trade the Pool and I. And so let's see, before I shut down here, give you folks another moment to migrate over to Barry over there, SPY. Now it's creeping up here. It's creeping up a little bit. So let's see, SPY is got a date with the 200-day moving average just closed above it. And this downward trend line here. I don't have a 200-day moving average up here, but if you were to throw one up there, you'll see it. So, all right, folks, I'm going to close this down here. You got a 10-second countdown before I do so. That link that I shared over there, that is Barry Live to continue the Trade Ideas trading room for the day. Maybe I'll pop over there real fast to say hi to Barry. And happy trading, folks. Take care.